Good. How are you? No, I wasn't. No. Second or third, yeah. We like Paula and I think sprinting for the line. I can't remember who got second or third. There you go.
Very good, man. Very good.
A triathlon coach for over 30 years. Welcome, Alex. So glad that you're with us today.
Very happy to be there.
Amelie, 2016 Canadian Olympian.
Yeah, it does.
Are you still completing?
I haven't. No, I changed programs last year. Actually, I'm now studying at the Concordia University here in Montreal in athletic therapy.
Oh, very nice. My wife's a graduate of Concordia, so she'll be very happy to hear that. And Elizabeth with that big, wonderful smile. That's one thing I loved about searching for some of the pictures. You have a wonderful smile, so I'm so glad that you joined us as well. Elizabeth, as a professional triathlete, numerous top 10 placings in the CamTri events, both as a junior and an elite, numerous top 20 placings in the ITU races and WTS races. Presently, your ITU world ranking 136 and a continental ranking of 35th. And you're currently a student at University of Quebec in Montreal in administrative management. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well, again, we are so glad that you were all able to join us today. We're going to have a very, very fun conversation. I know quite a few people were looking forward to this, including Barry. He phoned me today. We might get some comments from Barry if he's hanging out at his beach or whatnot of his quarry. Thank you, folks. We are going to cut away to our intro and be right back. Stay with us, folks. All right, we are back from that great intro. Well, Alex, without telling us the life story, what is the origin of Triathlon Barista? Many people that have known you have known about your interest and love for coffee, which led you and your entrepreneurial efforts into being a proud co-owner of a very successful company and a coffee roastery company. But what led to this professional team?
Well, it's actually there wasn't an actual plan to it. I kind of got back into coaching in 2011 because Kathy and I wanted to make that second Olympic team, and then so I kind of got back into it like like really involved in that 12-month campaign, and which led to the London Olympics, which was a great experience. And then And then right after that, I said, okay, I'm going to go back to retirement because I need to focus on the business, and that, like, I was hooked again. So I kind of tried to go back to retirement, in which I wasn't really able to do that. So I was kind of looking for another coaching project, and I decided, you know what, I have a pretty cool brand, and I have a little bit of time. And so how about I build my own little squad? And I kind of tried to replicate a little bit what they do in the, professional biking format
Hmm.
where brands are associated to, pro cycling teams. So I built a small little squad of juniors, and I got back involved in coaching, and I got back involved at the grassroots level, which I hadn't done in my triathlon coaching years. I think I was lucky enough to coach seniors very quickly. I went from swimming to triathlon like pretty quickly and started coaching seniors, and got involved with some high performance athletes, but I never really took the time to coach juniors. So it gave me an opportunity to do that, and one thing led to another, and juniors became seniors, and then I met with Amelie, and that was it. And then that kind of the project, took its toll, and then Elisabeth joined the squad, and now I have the kind of senior squad. So
Yeah.
long story short, I'm back, and I keep telling my wife I'm gonna quit coaching eventually, and she doesn't believe
Yeah,
me.
right.
Yeah.
Not when you have a passion for it, like we've seen you, as my wife was saying earlier. If anybody's seen you running around like you and Pierre around the rowing basin, then we know you have passion for it. So,
Yeah.
and the sport is far better off, and the athletes are far better off having you in it, Alex. So I think
Thanks.
everybody's really, really grateful and glad that you are. You have a lot to contribute. So obviously, in developing this coordinated plan between Barista and your love and passion for the athletes and the sport of triathlon, uh, how did you find that you were making that transition and making it work? Because certainly, I'd like to delve into the models. Certainly, what I would, for lack of a better description, more of a European model by creating a team as opposed to a club. Am I on the right track, and can you expand it? And I'd love it if the girls could contribute a little bit and tell me what they feel and describe as part of the team.
Well, I'll let the girls give their, because it's a good question. I'll let the girls give their views on that because they kind of live the experience every day. So I'm actually curious to know what they think about this project because I've actually never even asked them.
Um, well, for myself, I think the biggest thing about being part of a team is everyone contributes in a different way. We're all at different levels, but everyone brings something to the table, and then we're all in it with kind of the same goal, of being the best athlete that we can, and we kind of help each other become better athletes and better persons. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, between like the biggest difference between being a team and a club, with we are like just members coming in training once in a while, where we're just like all in it together every day.
And if I can add, having a group that train together all the time, I guess you are able to train with the same little group instead of having a big squad. I mean, last year we had a few age groupers or younger athletes that wanted to train with us, and it's just so big because the slowest slow
Yeah, slowest.
slowest athlete and the strongest athlete, there was such a big difference that it makes the squad too big to be able to do like proper training.
Mhm.
So I like our little squad that it's only a few athletes that are, like Amelie said, aiming for one thing or trying to
Become better.
Yeah.
And it's like a little family.
at this point. Yeah.
Who's Mama Bear then?
I'm the oldest, so I'm
I
like grandma here.
And the most experienced. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's really interesting and really nice to hear you say that because certainly I think coming again from more of a traditional swim club background, you don't see that a lot, except for, of course, in Europe. And we'll delve into some of your experience. Emily, we know that you've been training abroad for a few years and had interesting experiences there. So that might be very useful for people to learn from. We'll delve into that as well. Alex, is there any who owns the team then? Because we know you're co-owners with your entrepreneurial spirit, with your friend, your buddy, your good friend. Um, but how did you set it up to own the team?
Well, it's quite simple. We're
We
too
own the
good.
team.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Amelie and Elisabeth, they own the team. Yeah, it's actually it's him and I. My good partner Enrico, he's my best buddy. So we kind of built this business together, and so we never really thought about who owns what. We yeah, the barista owns the protein, but it's not really meant that way. It's more of the brand trying to give back to some athletes. That's more the mindset behind the project. So and we had this reflection. How can we give back? We're not such a big brand, so financially we couldn't give that much money. So we decided to kind of organize a setup where we offer myself as a coach, so I can take some hours away from the business to coach, and we even built a studio here in a new place so the athletes can come and do their training and I'm there so I don't lose time. I can come down from the mezzanine. And so it's more of a kind of a family project type of thing. One of the reasons why I wanted to organize a small squad and professionalize it is that I didn't want to compromise. I really want to do what I think is best for these athletes without having to compromise with because sometimes you have to. We've coached in bigger club systems, and I think I'm at a point in my coaching career where if I'm going to do this, I want to do it 100% the way I think it should be done. And I want to do it 100% for these guys, and I can't do it for 20 something people. So I have to limit myself to like a squad, and I have to make sure that every member of that squad, as the girl said, contribute to everybody else's success. So having a smaller squad fits very well for that. And I don't foresee it growing that much because I can't see myself keeping that quality type coaching with more than 6, 7, 8 athlete max.
Yeah, it's demanding on your attention to detail. It takes away from the daily coaching. You find you're able to coach with purpose better now than when you get distracted and you try to, like you said, sometimes compromise, I think, is good for the development of the person as a whole, but compromise can be very damaging to performance, quite
Totally.
frankly. And that's just my coaching opinion, but it's very good to hear you talk about that. And again, the athletes are the ones that are going to benefit the most from your attention to purpose with that smaller squad. Um, so, is there any relation? I've only gone through the website and some of the information and some background talking with Barry and whatnot. You're able to develop a bit of a relationship with Camo at Claude Robillard, or is that where you do? Yeah.
Yeah, I had worked with Claude in the transition period. I kind of took the head coaching position for a year as they hired Claude after that, which he's been there ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And he's produced numerous Olympians, and he has like a really solid background. And then as we built this squad, I needed kind of a physical place. I kind of needed like a club to affiliate myself. So I reached out to Claude, and my daughter actually swims for Camel, so it's kind of easy. It kind of fits. And so I said, I might need a little bit of infrastructure help. I might need some lanes and being involved with the club. We kind of did a partnership where, I sponsor a little bit the club with the coffee, and we do some barista gigs at different competitions. So we kind of worked out some sort of an agreement which works very well. And so he provides me with some infrastructure, and Claude Robillard being such a great place and it's centralized to where we train. I can have access also to the gym and the track and whatnot. So it worked out very, very well because of that. And I think, Claude understanding high performance, I think it was easy for me to communicate that project. So yeah, so he's been a really good help. He's been very supportive of that project.
No, that's good. And just so the girls know, I think, in my opinion, I love Claude Robillard. It's actually been where I swam some of the fastest 1500s of my ancient history career. So it's a wonderful pool, and you're very, very lucky to have that access there. So a bit of a question for the girls: how does Alex, with the small squad, how do you manage throughout your periodization over the year Canada's climate? You know, what's the philosophy that Alex brings? Is it we're going to endure and you're going to sit on those trainers all through the winter and you're going to love it? Or is there the opportunity to get some fresh air and get some vitamin D and do some warm weather training? What have you found that you've been developing through the process, ladies?
I think Alex understands really well that we're older and we've done the grinding through the winter in our junior years, and I think he understands that now we're older and we need the sun. Especially like me, I lived in Australia for like 4 years during the Canadian winter, so I have a difficulty training on the trainer all winter. I think I crave the warm weather. So, and I think Alex also craves the warm weather. So we try to be in the south as much as we can over the winter and try to avoid spending too much time here over the cold winter.
Okay, but then you have this teammate beside you. I've seen some wonderful pictures in the middle of fall as it's about to snow and some cross country races. So someone beside you, Emily, must be a little gritty and can handle some of the colder weather. How do you find it, Elizabeth?
Well, if I had the choice, I would happily leave for the warm place, but my cross country season wasn't that long. It lasts one season.
Okay.
When I mean, it's been 5 years I'm at the university, but I raced cross country 2 years ago as I was able to in my season. Because with triathlon season, it's kind of difficult. When the cross country season starts, we are not done yet, our triathlon season. So I tried and I had fun. It was different, but it was my only season I did the cross country. But it was fun. It's different.
Yeah.
But if I have the choice, I would happily leave for.
Yeah, and I think we both like being here over the fall because we like being home. And it's usually our off season, so we spend less time training, and we can enjoy like going on a gravel ride or mountain bike and run in the trails when it's colder. But I think over the winter after Christmas, we both enjoy being somewhere warm.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite warm weather training camp, Alex?
Well, I like Florida a lot because I don't like traveling. So I want to be 3 hours away from, wherever I want to be, and it's warm. And we found some pretty decent traveling platforms, Emily and I, in the last year leading up to the Olympic qualification. And I like eventually we'll probably end up, maybe going to other places like Australia, like Spain, and because I'm a big fan into finding the best place and the best environment for them to train. And Emily's has been around long enough to she actually has some pretty good insights on really cool training places. So
Sorry, Alex, have you talked to Mike Thompson about the training center in Italy? I know he took some of the Paralympic swimmers there. If you get a chance to talk to Mike Thompson, I know that I'll also have to look it up, but there's a really, really good training environment in Italy that a lot of really world-class international triathletes are also training as well.
Yeah, I know like the Australian Institute of Sport actually has a home base somewhere in Italy. So I'm happy to go there and train and get the same support they would get in Australia.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I think a lot of it is often overrated because what we're looking for is we need warm weather, We need places that we can bike and run safely. We need access to pool. Once you've covered those bases, you need to find a place where you know you can always count on that place. It's kind of it becomes your center place, your headquarters. And we did this year in Claremont, and I like Claremont because obviously it's 3 hours away, but it's very accessible, and for the girls to travel and come back, and for me to meet them up, because that's also one of the challenges. I'm here, they travel, we meet, we train. They'll travel back to a meet. We'll meet again. So it's often a challenge, and we've worked it very well. So we also have to think in terms of logistical. What's the best logistical ways for us to do that without having to over travel and and be all over the place all the time. So, but I'm always open to new places, and
I
I
was
just
just trying to help out Barista get to Italy and, help the Barista brand a little bit or something, you know?
last year, Emily and I, we went to a World Cup in Italy, and I really don't like traveling. Like, I really don't like it. It was one of my best ever meets. Like, I ate so well, and it was just, and I'm like, I'm coming back here, and like, I gotta find a way to get back there.
The race didn't go well, but Alex
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a really good time.
Oh, that's good.
They lost my bike for like 5 days right before the race, and
Alex was eating
yeah,
it.
Alex was
Uh,
just eating seafood and enjoying himself.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you come, Alex, I don't have a bike. Don't worry about it. It'll be here soon.
We're
yeah,
just
yeah,
eating well here. Just
Yeah.
enjoy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you are, as you mentioned, coaching this much smaller group. Certainly a more talented group. Anyone can look at sort of uh, the s- the the skill sets in terms of some of the times and different courses. There's certainly a much more talented small group. Um, how did how do you arrive, Alex, at targeting, and I don't mean you going out, but how do you arrive ultimately at that decision that an athlete is the right fit
Mm.
for the family with everyone? Because in the old swimming days, we called them high maintenance athletes. And high maintenance athletes can drain not only your energy, but the energy of a group. So, how do you go through your process of making sure an athlete is the right fit for what you want to build?
I'll be totally transparent here. I built this squad around Amelie because Amelie had the Olympic project. So, and everybody knows that. And basically, and the idea behind it is very simple. She gives back a lot to the younger athletes in terms of experience, and which she probably wouldn't have to, but she just does it very well. And at the other end, they give back to Emily and vice versa. So that fit has to say like that to give as many of the squad athletes an opportunity to reach that highest level, which is the Olympics. Being the only Olympian, it's easier to emulate because, as I will always tell, look at what she does and how she does things, and emulate and learn from that. Because if you aspire to that level, you're lucky enough to see it every single day. And she's been very good at teaching and giving back, and the kids, because most of them, aside from Elisabeth, are a little bit younger, right? The kids, they make like really a lot of gains because of that. Like, it's like I've seen some of my younger boys like develop themselves very quickly because of that, because they can emulate a high performance athlete. So the fit has to be that. The fit has to be, you're willing to contribute, and you aspire to go right now where, because she's the Olympic contender, where that's the standard, and the standard is the Olympics.
Mhm.
So, and it's fit. The fit does it's pretty natural. Like, it
Yeah,
works out pretty well, and so I'm
that's
pretty good at one thing. I think I'm pretty good at talent ID. Like, I don't know why. I can look and I can smell talent. So I know if an athlete is very good, but talent is only one thing. If
mhm.
they're not willing to put in the work, if they're not willing to commit to the program and to give back to the program, then you know
Yeah, if I can add, if an athlete wants to join the squad, earlier we were talking about 6 or 8 athlete max. So if you want to join, but you're far behind because you're not at the same level or not even pushing yourself fast, like hard enough to try to stay together or push yourself, it's just not fun for you as the athlete, but also you don't bring anything to the squad, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess, a common sense of what Alex is looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is about group management and whatnot. So, Emily, who are you chasing then? Which Roy brother are you always chasing?
Right now, well, because I train mostly with Zed right now, so he's one of the Roy, but he's not the brother. So Edmond
Okay.
and Leo are brothers, but Zed is not. Yeah, is
Not
another
related.
Yeah.
Roy. So I train mostly with Zed right now, so I'm mostly chasing him.
Yeah.
But when Leo is also around, he helps out a lot, and I chase.
And Zed's big, right? Because all I remember was at Super League, you know, my little son, my little 16-year-old son looks at me and goes, I got to race this guy, you know? It was,
Yeah, he's the taller one, but
yeah.
I think Leo is getting taller as well. We haven't seen him in a while, but he's getting bigger as well. But they're both getting really fast, so harder for me to chase them. But that's what we want.
Yeah.
The catch-22 is making sure that every single athlete is addressed as an individual also. So it's not about doing Emily's program. It's about doing the program and addressing the individual portion to each one of them. And Elisabeth is a good example. She joined in about a year ago and she wasn't at that same level because of some health issues and whatnot. But we took the time to bring her in a healthy into the program so she can now express herself and express her talent. So and that's I think that's one of the most important things because we don't do like this one program fits all type of thing, even though it's structured in a fashion where it's Olympic centric, but it's still individualized to a certain extent because obviously I can't have the boys run Emily's speed all the time because they'll be at a certain point they won't be fast. So because the boys aspire to breaking 15 minutes in a 5K, and Amelie's not going to break 15 minutes.
Yeah, not right now, but
yeah.
Give me a few
So-
more.
And boys always want to
Oh, yeah.
puff up their chest when the girls are around, right? That's just the nature of boys, right? They puff their chests up and there's no way they don't want to hear Emily breathing beside them. They want to take off. So
But they're actually pretty good at also letting me like roll turns with them on the bike and not being upset because a girl is keeping up, and I think they understand and they love helping out as well. So
that's great. Alex mentioned something very interesting that I wanna just explore a little bit, and that was about how much having not only Emily but the two of you being a little bit, can I say, more mature than some of the other athletes. Do you two ladies even realize how much mentorship and leadership you bring to the other athletes, or are you just doing it naturally?
I think it's pretty natural for both of us, and I think for me personally, I had the same thing when I first joined Jamie Turner, and I was around like all the best girls in the world, including Gwen, and I was that kid looking up to the girls and trying to emulate what they were doing, and I really enjoyed having someone like Gwen to look up to and learn from. So I think that's where we're trying to do with the kids that we train with here in Montreal.
But I think it's normal for
Yeah,
us.
it's natural.
For me too, I had the chance to train maybe 1 or 2 months in Europe with their squad, and it was the same, but I was younger. So it's just you're looking up to like these, even the guys.
Yeah.
Just the way they're training, they're getting to work out and they do their things. And they don't have to teach you, okay, I'm going to do this. So it's just to look a little bit behind, but like overview what they're doing. And I think for us, yeah, we've been friends for a while now, and it's just natural for us to trying to help, because if we're helping them, they're going to help us back because they're getting mature and stronger.
Well, that's wonderful, and I think again, you should never underestimate the power of influence that dedicated, skilled, quality human beings and athletes can bring to other athletes. So never underestimate that, girls, because when I've looked at some of the pictures of the other athletes in the squad and you see some younger ones, you know that you can bring a lot to the table. So that's wonderful. Um, the one thing that you did mention, Alex, that you were very lucky and you hadn't done a lot of coaching with some juniors. So, but I did want to ask you a little bit. What are your thoughts in building athletes from a developmental level of 15, 16 into this high performance stream or pathway? Have you had a chance to reflect a little bit and think about what you feel you would like to do or things that you have done or what the sport's missing even? Have you had a chance to think about that?
Yeah, every single day. I'm a big fan of development. Actually, I see myself more as a development coach than a high performance coach, because to me, those years are crucial to if and maybe there will be a senior career eventually. So whatever we do as development coach has such a big impact. And I always say, we look at Olympians, we look at World Cup winners, and we tend to forget all these other coaches that have actually contributed so much into bringing that athlete to that level. And so the things that we do at that level have such a big impact. So in triathlon, for say, I'm a big fan of soft skills because it's three sports which are very hard to master. We come from swimming, so we really do have an understanding of how hard the skill set is and how many years it is required before you become like a really good swimmer. So biking is that component, and running too, to a certain extent, because we think we can all run but we don't know how to run. So and to me, putting these three sports together without injuring athletes is really really hard, and it takes a tremendous amount of years and hard work before it actually comes together. But if it's well done, then you have girls that are 27 years old and still going at it and looking forward to another 4 or 5 years where they will express their talents because it's a late development sport. So they'll go into those perfect years where they'll be 29, 30, 31, and they'll master the what I call the craft of triathlon, and then they'll be at the top. And I have this discussion with Amelie all the time. She's been lucky enough to go on the world scene very early, but we still haven't seen how good she's going to be, because we're still building that strong foundation where eventually she will take that money and she'll go to the bank with it, and she'll go to the bank, at the same level at the best girls in the world that are 30 something years old. So when you're talking to me about a 15-year-old kid, like he's 15 years away from the craft. So like I don't get really impressed with how fast he is at 15. I get really impressed of how well he develops himself, and that's what I think is the most important thing. So I'm a big fan of taking the time, the building these athletes, so when it's time to really go fast, they're able to do so because they're skilled and they're not injured, and that for me is the key. So like if you're 18 years old, like whatever, it's cool, you're junior, I hope you're having fun, but like I rather have a triathlete that says, I'm still swimming in a swim club and I'm running with a running squad, and I'm doing some mountain bike because I love it and I commute on a bike, and then you come to me at 18 years old, and then I want to start coaching you because I know you've got all the soft skills, and I'm probably sure that you haven't been injured that much because you've been well rounded. Then I'm starting to have some fun. So I think our sport being a sport that has developed a lot in the last 20 something years, I think we still have to be very careful at not you know overbuilding triathletes very young. It's okay to practice triathlon, at a very young age. I think it's great. And I'm a big fan of it should be a complementary sport to swim clubs, to bike clubs, to all right, season ends, whatever, end of May, June, you've swam enough, go have some fun for 3 months in triathlon, take your bike, let's have some fun, let's go do some open water swimming, go back to the swim club, in September. And then eventually, if you see talent appears and interest, and you're like, 18 years old, and okay, let's start talking about triathlon. And that's my personal view of,
Yeah. Well, I think it's very, very healthy. I would certainly subscribe to your belief, Alex, because I think that, you know, not having the experience that you have in the sport, but certainly what you mentioned, and I think the girls can probably attest to it, having been around swimmers, people very often underestimate just how long it takes to develop those soft skills in swimming. And I can see Elisabeth looking around
Because
because,
I'm still learning.
yeah, and the coach, I bet you Alex is always asking, how do you feel today? And you're like, what do you mean feel? I can't feel anything. But that's all the coach wants to know is, can you feel the water today? And it takes a long time because otherwise your feet are like stones in the water and your arms are flailing around. They want you to feel the water. So that's very important. We're gonna switch over with one segue question here, and I want to ask Emily and Elisabeth, you know, together, what got you guys involved in the sport? What started it? Was it, parents yelling and screaming, "You're gonna do it and get off the couch," what got you guys involved in this thing?
For myself, I changed school when I was 8 years old, and there was only one other girl in all my primary school that her name was Elisabeth. So I went to her and I was like, "Hey, we have the same name," and she was not really impressed. But she was like, I don't have time for you. I'm doing triathlon," and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I started like training with her. I mean, we were running around the block and then just doing some stuff for fun. But next thing you know, I'm still doing triathlon, and
Yeah.
we stopped. She stopped, but yeah, it was just like this. It's from a friend, and my parents were really like, they brought me to practice, early morning practice, swim practice, but they were really fine with that if I had fun. And yeah, still having fun. Different friend, but
Yeah, for myself, I also started at 8 years old. I was involved in a lot of sport growing up. From like, I did competitive downhill skiing, raced my mountain bike, golf, played soccer, and my dad suggested I try a triathlon, and so we went. We drove, I think, like 90 minutes away from home, and I tried a triathlon, and I was hooked from the start. So, and haven't stopped since then, and slowly started like quitting the other sports growing up, and just to like focus on triathlon. So I think when I was 15, I was only doing triathlon, but from like 8 to 15 years old, my parents were driving me everywhere, from like skiing to swimming to soccer, and we were very busy running around doing sports.
And Emily, are you up near where you grew up? Are you up near Saint Sever or where?
Yeah, well, about 25 minutes south of Saint Sauveur. So
Oh, okay.
we're like the outside of Montreal, but yeah, I grew up skiing near Saint Sauveur.
Okay, I was only wondering because my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they own a place. They own a lake. They own a mountain up there.
nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We want their names now.
Yeah. Alan Doherty. That's
Yeah.
that's my plug for the Doherty family.
We want Allen's Lake.
Emily, You touched a little bit on this, both of you did, on how Alex contributes, but you've had a lot of experience with other coaches as well. Can you describe for the viewers what do you feel you could summarize Alex's coaching strategy as with you?
I think
Happiness, I would say.
Yeah, Alex puts the person first before the athlete. So his goal is that we're happy doing what we want, and we keep playing triathlon like we were kids. I think what works really well between Alex and I is that we build the program around my needs, and also I contribute to the program. So I'll throw ideas, and he'll listen, and usually we'll build sessions or our general program together. So I'm really involved in the plan, and I think that works really well right now. I don't think it would have worked well when I was younger, but I think I'm at a point now where I have enough experience, and I know what has worked in the past with my other coaches, and I think I can bring that to the table. And Alex has other experience too, so I think that works really well for us.
Fantastic.
Alex, as Amelie said, is trying to make you realize as a person what you want in general in life. So if you want this in the training or in the environment, that builds yourself to first of all, after that there's the athletes. But if you're happy doing what you want in whatever you do in your life, that's, I think,
his main goal is,
he did his job. And I mean, we're learning and everything, right? So every day we're learning something about ourselves, like in training or in general, and Alex is a big part of that.
That's great. It's nice that there's
for this.
Yeah, so I owe you $20 each. Is that
it? Yeah. For you, Elisabeth, at what point did Alex start coaching you?
It's a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. At first, if people were talking to me about Alex, I thought he was a bad person.
She was scared.
Yeah, I was kind of scared. I was like, oh man, this coach is really hard on people, and he knows what he wants, so we have to do it exactly the way we want. Yeah. But
like a swim coach.
Yeah,
I guess. But as you said earlier, at this point, a year ago, earlier, I was not in the right place. And Amelie asked me if I wanted to join her camp in March in Tucson. So I decided to join, and I met Alex for the first time. And the first thing he told me is hi, I have to be nice now. And I was like, oh, okay, nice to meet you.
The first thing Alex said when we picked her up at the bus station in Tucson, right before she arrived, Alex was like, I'm only going to be nice to her because she's your friend, right? And I was like, you'll see, you'll love her. And then after a day, he was like, oh, I really like her.
We were making fun. And at first I wasn't sure, because I wanted to sleep all the time, and he was like, what's wrong with you? But then I got healthier, and then we
started enjoying the program more.
Yeah. And I think since then I learned a lot, and Alex realized I was soft skills. I need to learn a lot from that. But I think today, a lot of work still, but we did a good job.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
What are your focus for the two of you? Obviously, we've had this complete upheaval this year for athletes all over the world. And of course, the swimming world was 3 weeks away from Olympic trials when everything closed down, and that changes everything. But even for you ladies and your aspirations and your goals, it's nice that there's the possibility of a new goal for 2021. How are you both interacting into that? And what I mean by that is, obviously this probably gives Emily, it gives you more time to develop, but you will probably start to hone those skills into that selection venue. And for you, Elisabeth, it also gives you more time. It also gives competitors more time as well. And just coming to my mind, a lovely triathlete that's a co-competitor, an athlete like Dominika Jamnicki. She has a goal and definitely feels, after doing an interview with her, she feels really positive about having this additional time. So how are you managing through this? And I don't mean with your training, but how are you managing psychologically moving forward into 2021?
Yeah, well, I think for myself, we were like right in the middle of qualification when the pandemic started. So I was actually in Australia, so we came back because of the everything started to shut down. Um, so at first it was quite hard, not knowing what was about to come. Like we didn't know if we were going to be able to race again, or and we didn't know about the Olympics. But once the postponement of the Olympics was announced, I think we were relieved because we didn't think it was fair to get ready for the Olympics when the pools were closed here, but in another country they were still open, and it wasn't fair. So I think we were relieved that they were postponed, but we were also relieved because we had more time. I think this allows us to do like a big training block until the next race, and without having to like taper or interrupt our training block. So we can build like a big foundation for next year and put more money in the bank, like Alex liked to say. So I think we're really using that time to our advantage. And I do triathlon. I train hard because I love racing. So that's one thing that is hard, not having a race to target. But I think we have little goals every day or every training block that we want to hit, and that helps us stay focused. And we're doing fine. I think we're training hard and making gains. So I'm pretty excited to race whenever that time comes, and show how fast we're getting.
Awesome. Uh, Emily just touched on something that I had as a question further or earlier on that I didn't hit actually, Alex, and I wanted to explore this a little bit with you. You know, again, my experience as a stupid swim coach over 30 years, and your experience in coaching with swimming, but triathlon's different. And I'm certainly starting to learn about that in the various ways. But what's your philosophy in the periodization with the athletes? Are you using a traditional swimming model where it's train, 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 and you've got one or two races, but ultimately, you peak and taper for one race? Or are you modifying that, and are you using the other races to supplement the training so that you arrive? I'm curious as to how you philosophically approach with these two great high performance ladies the periodization with them.
Well, you got to keep in mind that, and I don't know if I have the recipe because, and that's the cool thing about triathlon. There's so many recipes. So I try to keep it as simple as possible so I myself can understand what I'm doing. But I always look at what's the demand. And the demand, and we've gone through it, Amelie and I, one full circle. The demand is we're going to be traveling a lot, we're going to be racing a lot, and we can't afford to have these super two peak races. Like we don't prepare for one Olympic trials because that's the nature of the, and the Olympics is a good example. It's the nature of the qualification. You have to be very constant. So on the bad days you have to be good, and on the good days you have to be great. So, it gives you a margin that's this small. And so there's so many components that are involved in that: fatigue, jet lag, and whatnot. So it takes so many years before you physically master that. And I think Amelie at 27 years old, and she's shown that she can actually manage that very well. So her traveling recovery is amazing. She's luckily she doesn't get really jet lag that big, but she has spent so many years training that aspect. So now I can actually address the physiological component of preparing to race. Every other athlete I coach, and Elizabeth included in that, is still in that training phase where just traveling is an issue. So it doesn't really matter what I do. If travel just kills you, then we need to address that. So with Amelie, what I really like to do is I like to do training blocks and then use racing blocks to get racing fit. So I address certain specifics in the training block, and then I move over to 3 races where we try to go faster and faster and faster. And I use that racing into the next phase. So I go back to what I call the drawing table, and I go back to a training block again, address the little components. Is it power? Is it speed? Is it whatever? And then move to another racing block. In an ideal world, it works that way. In our sport, it doesn't always work that way because I had a bad race there, so I'm going to do this other race. So I my periodization is just a bunch of colors that change all the time. Yeah, that's what it is. Because I'm like, okay, gotta, it's blocks all the time.
But that's also the secret of being adaptable and helping the athletes learn to be adaptable and consistent.
And I mean, and I love doing that. That's what I love doing it. But the easy part is the Zed and the Leo because it's very structured. And with them, it's very easy because they're stuck in the winter. They're not going to spend their time in this, in Florida because the school because they're too young. So it's easy for me. I do a reverse periodization with them. I do, a little bit of power or speed, and then I move to a training block in maybe in Florida where I do a little bit of transfer to endurance. I come back, and then there's a season. And the season is you try to use the races to get racer fit as you get to the bigger races. So whether it's national championship or like a cam try race, that's that's the easy part. The fun part is what we do, Emily and I, and now slowly Elisabeth too, because she's doing some World Cups. Is okay. We're gonna have to go, 16 hours away here, and then 7 hours there, and then we're gonna and they're good. They're these girls. They're good. These athletes. They're so good. And one of the things I look to that I really aspired is looking at this professional cycling. These guys, man, they have to go 21 days of just racing and racing, and you don't really have a lot of off days, So it's a very different nature periodization. And triathlon is really close to that because travel, race, travel, race, travel, race, travel, race, go back home, train, travel, race, travel, and it takes so many years to master that. And I've only had the luxury of coaching two girls at that level, Amelie and Kathy, and you see that at a certain age, you know, now they master it. Like I
Yeah.
remember Kathy at 20, and then Kathy at 24, and then Kathy at 30. Huge difference. And Emily is it's the same process. You know, traveling is not, we don't overdo it. I know she's got it covered. She knows when to travel, how many days she like well, she'll just run it by me just to make sure we both look at it, but she's got it figured out. And
And
and that
it's a big skill for an athlete to learn over many years, that self management, right?
totally
And it's not just the load of training; it's the self management of being an athlete. What do you do if your bike is gone for 5 days? Are you going to crumple up into a little ball and cry your eyes out at the side of the fence, or are you going to go into problem solving mode? So it's a testament to your leadership with the two girls, and that they're getting there. And certainly I don't know if Emily's ready, but it would be nice to see her racing to 35, 36, 37. you know
That's the plan.
yeah.
Good, good. Okay, well, we've had an absolutely wonderful time so far, but now we're going to maybe move to an area where it's a little bit unknown that you didn't see these questions. Okay? So, Alex, you get to chime in, and we're going to find out if we know how much Alex knows about these two ladies. Okay?
Here we go.
All right. Well, first of all, a lot of people that know me, I love Montreal. It's an absolutely one of my favorite cities in the world. I absolutely love it. And of course, Montreal is known in Canada for a lot of its fashion. So, ladies, what piece of clothing do you wish would come back into fashion?
Come back.
You want bell bottoms? You want those bell bottoms back? You want platform shoes?
Not really.
Well, the thing is that we're not fashion, but normally our clothes is like training clothes. So,
I mean, I really like my Birkenstocks. They're kind of
platform.
No, they're kind of not fashion, but
Yeah.
I wish people would appreciate Birkenstocks a little bit more with white socks in them.
Yeah, I would say maybe the socks.
Yeah, the full Euro socks with the sandals. I do that all the time at home and getting crap for it, but I always wear. My dad was Lithuanian, so that's normal in Europe. All right. For both, what's your favorite school subject? So what have you enjoyed in administrative management, and for you, Emily, what do you like in school?
The truth is, I was in a teaching program before, and I changed to administration to be able to train and go to school. But I would say teaching, I really like it. So maybe something, I would say marketing or something like this, like related to administration. But if I'm able to teach something, I like it. So
fantastic. Em?
I like anatomy classes. Yeah. Or
Okay.
like in the high school, like I enjoyed biology or yeah.
Fantastic.
Can I jump in, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, Elisabeth, yeah. She's a super PR girl. Like she loves to talk to people. And Amelie's gonna be an amazing businesswoman.
There you go.
All right. We've been watching for that. Okay. This is a question. I don't know how it'll work, but we'll see if it works. You got to make a choice here, girls. Shawn Mendes, Drake, or the Jonas Brothers?
In terms of like, in terms of like husband material, or
no, just like music, just music. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Drake.
Drake, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Alex won't like this one. Your favorite fast food chain?
No, I love it.
Not Barbie Barn?
No. No, Poutine.
Poutine. How about you, Em?
It's like fast food. I don't mind a McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in a while, but I wouldn't mind it.
Okay. Here's a good one. Make a choice. Okay. Vacuum the house, mow the lawn, clean the bathroom, or wash dishes. Which one? Okay.
Depends. I would say vacuum. Depending on like the vacuum, I have a good Dyson, then yeah, vacuum.
Okay. Your favorite sports hero?
Lindsey Vonn.
Oh, okay.
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I would say Gwen because I had the chance to see her in like the daily training, and yeah, she was nice and she would do workouts like properly. Yeah, I would say Gwen.
Very good. Fantastic. Okay. Do you ladies have a favorite song that you like to listen to before you race?
I'm not really into like music before racing. So no, I don't have like one song before a race. No.
Yeah, I mean, if I put music on, it would depend. Maybe something calm, just to make me feel like less stress. But sometimes I like something like to pump me up. But I don't have one song that I listen every.
All right. I think I know what Emily's going to answer on this one, but I'm curious what Elisabeth is. If not triathlon, what sport would you be doing?
I would say running, like just a runner. But otherwise, if it's not related to like swim, bike, or run, it would be volleyball.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. You think I'm gonna say downhill skiing,
Yeah.
but I was good at like slalom, but I wasn't big enough or heavy enough for like downhill, and I didn't really like going at 100 an hour down a hill in the like skin suit. So maybe skiing, but only slalom.
Yeah.
Or I would do beach volleyball, just to be on the beach all the time.
There's the team. Yeah.
Just to be on the beach all the time.
Your favorite food the night before a race?
I usually have something like simple, like chicken with sweet potato fries and just sweet potatoes, and like small salad. Something simple. I'm not too picky because we travel and we usually sometimes some items are not available in the countries we are in. So just something simple.
Yeah, pasta, pizza,
rice.
So you're not going for the fresh calamari in Spain right before the race?
If I really trust a place, maybe, but
maybe after the race.
All right. This will be good because of both your experience internationally. Your favorite place to compete in all the places you've been?
New Zealand.
Yeah, I haven't been to New Zealand or Australia, but I really enjoy in Italy. The race was fair, and I like when races are fair. I mean, like when it's flat, doesn't mean anything. If it's not technical, it doesn't mean anything. It does, but let's be a complete triathlete can do whatever. So I really it was really hard. It didn't go well, but it was really challenging. The race in Italy I did, and it was really pretty.
And I actually like Japan a lot to compete in too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good. Yeah. Okay, next one. You got to make a choice. Chocolate or ice cream?
Easy, chocolate.
Okay. Now, I've asked this question, and all the girls have come back with almost all of them the same answer. And I don't know, maybe you'll do the same thing as my daughter. I don't know. Your favorite brand of swimsuit?
I'm swimming with a Jolene.
Oh, there, Jolene. I knew it. Have you seen the Jolens, Alex? Like all the girls are crazy for these Jolens all over the place.
I've never swam in the Jolene, so I can't really tell.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not picky.
Elisabeth will lend you one or something.
Whatever's free. Yeah, I was gonna say it before Alex would say it. Whatever's free.
Well, it won't be like in the olden days. If Alex, I was coached by Cliff Berry back in the old Guelph days. If you forgot your bathing suit, you swam in your underwear. So, times have changed, but Cliffy made me swim in my underwear when I was 12 years old.
Make sure you don't forget your swimsuit.
That's right. Okay, onto the bike. Now, I know you have sponsor commitments, so this won't hurt the sponsor commitments. Maybe it'll help. We'll see. Bike, mechanical or Di2?
Di2.
Oh, interesting, because we've had some other international athletes say mechanical. So very interesting.
Have they tried a Di2?
I think they have. It was Domi. It was Domi. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting, eh? One piece of running equipment that you just cannot do without.
Running shoes.
Yeah. The new Asics Meta Racer.
Okay.
Yeah, they're coming out soon this summer. They're amazing.
Are they?
They're
All
fast
right.
shoes.
We'll have to watch for those.
Plug in.
All right. The last one we have. Your favorite discipline out of the three disciplines, Elisabeth?
Running.
Running?
Yeah, running as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
When is that going to change, Alex? When are we going to get them like swimming? Like when is that? Because you got to be in the front pack, right?
Yeah.
If you're coming out second pack, you're spending all your time trying to catch the front pack. Like,
Well, I think swimming is important, but if I had the choice to just do one of the three, I would say running.
Yeah.
Maybe because we're swimming at 6 or 7 in the morning that I associate swimming too
Yeah.
early for me. But
it's more the fact that like swimming, you're usually indoors here in Canada and staring at a black line, where like cycling and running, you have that sense of like freedom, and you can go anywhere and see places, and which we don't really get swimming. But I would say I really enjoy swimming outdoors or open water. But yeah, if I had a choice between the three and I would have to like stop any two tomorrow and choose one, it would be running. It's just easy. You need a pair of running shoes and you can get out the door and run everywhere. So
it's pretty minimal, isn't it? You just grab your shoes, shorts, and away you go. Yeah.
I get where they come from. Like sometimes we run a Saturday morning brick, and Amelie always laughs at me. She's like, 4 hours of
elapsed time, 2 hours moving time.
Yeah.
Because it's just that's the nature of our sport, bike racks and whatever. And so I get where they come from, but the girls, they understand the importance of being a very strong swimmer. Like that's the name of the game. So, and if they commit to it, like really.
My daughter's just going out to do her. She's got her stretch cords and everything, so she's going out to do her stretch cords and everything because the pool for the swim club isn't open here and everything. So, yeah.
Having a pool in your garage.
We found a solution for that.
No, I know him. I saw that. We do have an 8-foot pool, but I was watching her sculling. She can get some good whirlpools in position 3, but it's not deep enough for position 2 and stuff like that. So, we make do with what we can right now. But you never know. She can run too. Actually, she's a kid. She can run pretty steady. Like anywhere between 410 and 430 kilometers easy. Like 130, 140 heart rate easy. She can just truck along.
Impressive.
Yeah. What's that, Lukey? Oh, sorry. The technical crew was talking over here. Well, I can't tell you how fun this has been. I hope you ladies have had some fun. And stay on the line because we'll debrief and talk about this afterwards. As part of our exit, though, we all know a friend and colleague, Barry Shepley, is trying to get a little bit of race training going again, and maybe. So, what do you think of that, Alex? What have you looked at some of what Barry's got going, and what do you think? What do you guys think of that?
Right now, we're in tricky times. We'd love to do some racing. Any racing opportunity is it's a great opportunity. We just have to really make sure that first and foremost we're allowed to race. So because every province has got different rules and regulation, so we got to make sure that we're allowed to race, and then once that's covered, if it's all aligned with everybody, I'd love to. I love what Barry does. Barry goes out there and he finds ways, and he's creative, and he's probably the biggest advocate of our sport. He's been involved for so many years, so whatever Barry does, it's always about the sport, it's about the kids. So when you start anything with that, good things will follow. So yeah. So if there's a possibility for us to actually do some racing, we'll jump on the occasion, because any racing is a lot more specific than the training of racing. So so we'll look at those opportunities, and even here in Quebec, I think they're looking for opportunities also to put in some races, and I know all of my athletes have been just wanting to do some racing. whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, but hey, Barry's doing an amazing job, you know.
Yeah. Well, certainly I know Barry wanted me to let you know that if you do get a chance and something fits in with the schedule, he would love to see you, your squad, your team, and those lovely, confident, strong young women. It'd be wonderful. Again, I can't tell you how much fun this has been to catch up with you, Alex. It's been fantastic. Again, everybody stay on the line and we'll debrief afterwards, but we're going to end the show now. And again, this episode will be launched onto our FitLife TV channel for anybody to watch it later. And of course, any friends and family that want to watch it, if they do prefer to watch it in French, they can go and toggle down on one of the corners on the options, and they select subtitles, and they just pick the language that they want, and the subtitles will be there in French. Again, my apologies for not being able to do it in French. I'm very grateful that you could do this in English. So thank you so much, guys. Stay on the line, and we'll look forward to seeing you at a race sometime soon.
Yeah,
Thanks, John.
Thanks.